and Maria. Hello, Maria. So lovely to be before being together. We are. There is being. Being is already this wholeness, this intimacy, this non-dual being, where effortlessly we are the ocean. Effortlessly we are this universal mystery. As one. There is no division and no separation in being. So if we can invite this understanding, invite ourselves in this moment to this living understanding of being, our true nature. Which in its very essence is peace, freedom, love, beauty. Formless, and yet it takes on the form of the world, the body, thoughts, sensations. Without being affected in any way whatsoever. It takes on the form of the wind, the sunshine, the heartbeat, the singing of the birds, images, the sensation of our feet on the ground, although there is no distinction between our feet and the ground. You know yourself as I awareness. It's your direct experience. A formless, aware presence. Infinite, invisible, undeniable. It knows itself as I. You know yourself as I. Without borders, without any limitation. There are no gates and no doors to awareness, no effort. Nothing lacking. And nothing that is being sought. The images and the thoughts that appear to you about yourself, they do not know you. The sensations that arise to you in the feeling, they are appearances which do not know you. What is it that you are lacking? Why do we believe that I lack something? Why, why do we abide by this thought and belief that I lack something? our experience, this moment and every moment, is complete transparency, meaning there are no borders, no edges, no separation anywhere. Although thought may carve out territories, creating the impression that I am limited and lacking. Thought is like the wind. Its substance is, in a way, substanceless. Our experience is that of complete availability. Although thought may disagree, what power does thought have which you do not give it? Whenever you assume yourself to be a separate and limited body-mind, whichever way you define that, you experience the impression that you are lacking love, lacking goods, lacking recognition, lacking acceptance, lacking intimacy. Which are just energetic flows and movements within the body-mind, currents within the ocean. And then you busy yourself polishing what? An image, an imaginary structure. You become preoccupied about your looks, the size of your house, style of your shoes, the smart things that you say, But it doesn't work, does it? No matter how hard you try to fit in, to be accepted, to be loved. You don't find satisfaction. Because you've separated yourself and you are seeking to experience your completion and your wholeness by some external means. We want something from somebody outside of us to love us, give us what we need, make us whole. But it doesn't work, does it? It is said that the peace and the happiness that you seek is the peace and happiness that you are. But in our confusion, we seek love and recognition for an image that we project. Which has nothing to do with truth, has nothing to do with our connection with each other. We hold on to our ideas, our image, our notions. While all along we are this formless and borderless reality, the reality of consciousness, awareness. In some cases, we pray and hope that we've been good. And that the the next kingdom will recognize our good deeds. Whose good deeds? The good deeds of my personhood, my imaginary self, the imaginary me that I've been nurturing all my life, and that has been my sense of limitation throughout my life. I cherish that which binds me, an image, an idea, a story that I cherish and that I take myself to be. It binds me and limits me as I maintain that I am this person, this good person, this great person, this whatever. Storyline and imaginary self, which has nothing to do with the universal being, that which is, and that which in this moment effortlessly perceives, knows that it is. Invite your body-mind to rest into being, to rest as being, as presence, as isness. That is what it loves. And that is what it is. Jesus said, I am the way, I am the love. Not I, Jesus, but the I. I. Rather than being accepted So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please feel free to unmute yourself. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Maria.
Hi, Magdi.
Yes.
Magdi, I recently went to a training called Possibility Management, whereas we explore deeply into feelings. And I realized how I have been very numb my whole life. And I also realized that I might have been using the non-dual teachings as a way to, I suppose, bypass my humanity or bypass I'm not quite sure how to say it, but what this training did is that it kind of took off the cap of my feelings and just like this welling of feelings coming up, and most of them without a story attached, but just just strong feelings coming up. And I'm very concerned about paying attention to these feelings as a way of feeling too much attention to my separate self. No, I would like for some guiding in how to work with the strong feelings that are coming up. Some of them feel like feelings that have been suppressed, and that through this work, they are more free to be allowed to be felt. And I want to hold them in the vast awareness.
So feelings are appearances, yes? They appear to you.
Right.
And
do they have a place? Should they be paid attention to, or should they just be recognized as appearances?
well, they are appearances, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to correct the volume here, John. One moment. So whether a feeling, irrespective of the volume of the feeling, the size or the color of the feeling, they appear to you, right? Yes?
Yes.
So like when you are driving on the road and you see a Volkswagen Beetle, and then a minute later you see a Big Mac truck, they are both appearances, they appear to you, right?
Yes.
They are equal in that they are appearances. And they appear to you awareness, they appear within awareness. Effortlessly, they appear. And effortlessly, awareness perceives them, right? You don't make an effort to perceive it. It's just, it arises, a feeling. A feeling would be in a certain bodily emotion or sensation, and there may be some thoughts also associated with it. But they appear to you whether because you went to a training, and in the training the trainer said something to you, and as a result there was a feeling that appeared, yes? Right. Now, there is a story about the feeling. A feeling is an appearance, and there is a story about the appearance. Maybe, for example, wow, this VW bug, this Volkswagen bug, is a German vehicle. My God, it's a 1974 and it's still on the road. It's really beautiful. I love it. I wish I had two of them. That's a story, right? About an appearance. Oh my God, this Mack truck, that's a huge Mack truck. It's really loud and it's spewing diesel on the highway and it's coming so close to my road. I wish the government would forbid those trucks to drive on that road. So that's a story, meaning that's thought, a narrative about an appearance, right? So similarly, there could be a feeling arising, which is an appearance. And there could be a narrative about this feeling. The narrative could be, I've been suppressing this feeling for so long, I shouldn't have suppressed it. I'm really so happy that I've attended this workshop, and this workshop has liberated me from suppressing this feeling. That's a narrative, right? It's a series of thoughts, right? Within this narrative, there is an I have been suppressing this feeling, right? For example, what is this I? Obviously, there is an I in the narrative. I have been suppressing this feeling. I should have suppressed this feeling. I've been bypassing. I don't want to suppress this feeling. Okay, that's a narrative. What is this I?
Well, all that appears is in consciousness.
Yeah, no,
So
I know.
I would say like, okay, it's this separate self that's
so I, Maria.
It's body, mind. Yeah, I, Maria, the body, mind is saying that.
Yeah, I, Maria, I, the body, mind. Now, I, the body, mind appears to you. In other words, you perceive the body, mind. You perceive it via images. You perceive it via memories. You perceive it via perception. You can perceive the body, the hands of Maria. You can look in the mirror. So the body, mind is an appearance, right?
Yes.
Is it something you perceive, right?
Yes.
Now, how could something that you perceive say, gee, I am suppressing. You follow what I'm saying? How could something which you perceive how can that which you perceive?
So that which is being perceived is not really perceiving, but having a thought about it. And the thought cannot perceive.
Absolutely. A thought is perceived. So the thought that says, I've been suppressing my childhood memories, for example. The I within that thought is not the true self. It's not consciousness. It is a make-believe consciousness. It's a caricature. It's a twist.
Like a character in a play or something like that. Is it?
It's not what I is. It is not what I is. It is the illusory I. So your question is, should I be following the direction of the illusory I? And the answer is no. There's only one direction to follow, and that is the direction of truth, that which is real. That which is real in your experience is consciousness. It's not somebody who's been suppressing whatever you shared, suppressing emotions and something like that.
Magdi, and yet, this being more in contact with these feelings that are arising, although they're an appearance, somehow has made me feel more alive and less numb.
Yeah, but you feel more alive, less numb today, but come back in 2 months, you will feel different. I mean, I don't wish that onto you. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Because you are riding the horse, a horse ups and downs, the rodeo horse. Why? Because feelings are connected with thoughts, and they're connected with the thought at the core of the feeling is the thought that I am Maria. Feelings are neutral sensations with the me belief. You need to comprehend that, to comprehend what a feeling is. A feeling is a sensation, a bodily sensation. It arises in the space of awareness. And there is a story within the thought, within that neutral sensation. There is the me belief. As long as you don't comprehend that, you will continue to give value to feelings. And yes, you may have some really nice feelings today. Sometimes you can have some ice cream with a little kalua. You will feel good for this afternoon or for a few hours. The feelings, as long as you have not come to the understanding about the feelings, which are connected to your understanding about your true nature, that your true nature is not in the realm of feelings. Feelings are like the weather. When the weather appears, it may be sunny, or it may be rainy, or it may be a tornado, or it may be cloudy. When it is more important for you for the weather to be sunny, and less important for you for the weather to be rainy, you are going to experience unhappiness because you've divided the universe according to your personal preferences. And the universe is consciousness. You which is consciousness, are dividing yourself into good and bad, into worse and better, into I'm having better feelings now I was having than yesterday. I am glad you are having better feelings now, but it has nothing to do with happiness.
So the me feeling that feels like could be contractions in the body, how may that help us to get closer to realization about?
It depends on your resistance. When a contraction arises in the body and we meet it openly, not with resistance, not with a certain personal agenda, that is how you approach your experience in the light of wisdom. But when you approach a certain contraction with your judgment and your personal preferences, that is not the correct direction, because you maintain the division and you maintain the conflict.
So in a sense, when I say suppression, it could be resistance to whatever experience that's arising. So, for example, maybe an emotional feeling that arises and it has a story attached to childhood trauma, for example, and I suppress it because I don't want to feel it, or I don't want to allow the sensations to be felt fully. In that sense, that could be a resistance / suppression.
When a certain childhood memory arises with a certain feeling in it, usually we get swept by it, we get absorbed in it, we get wrapped up in it. What's important to understand is that the feeling, the childhood feeling, and the current feelings, they relate to what you imagine yourself to be, what you believe yourself to be. In the moment that you are having a feeling of a childhood feeling, it's just an arising. There is an impression that is arising to you. It's arising to you as memory, as perceptions, and as sensation, and as a storyline about me, the child, what happened to me, it shouldn't have happened to me, oh my God, I was abused and I was mistreated, etc., which is a storyline. It has nothing to do with consciousness, nothing to do with truth. Now, the non-dual path, the direct path, has nothing to do with psychotherapy. In some cases, psychotherapy may be needed, when it's not possible for you to do your non-dual work openly because of the emotional states that keep arising for you. Then it would be a good idea to look into some sort of therapeutic help that can reduce or soften the emotional, the feeling state, so that you can apply yourself to awakening. But I don't feel this is the case for you. My impression is that when we personalize any experience that we are having, for example, there are certain memories that arise about Maria being a 12-year-old girl, etc., whatever, and certain emotions and so on that arise. It is important to be clear that the Maria that is appearing, the 12-year-old Maria that is appearing with her emotions and all of that you're experiencing in that moment, is not that which you are. It is not what you are. So it's important not to hold on to that which we are not. It's quite a burden to be holding on to that which we are not. And there are many aspects of in the mind that refer to us via time and via space and via memory and via feelings. It is the way that the me storyline maintains itself. Now I got it. I am working on curing and on healing my inner child. I'm not saying that in some cases there may be some traumatic situations. I'm talking generically. I'm not a therapist, so I'm speaking just from the non-dual perspective and from my understanding. So now here I am healing my inner child. But what am I? What am I? What is it that? Who is this inner child? What is this inner child? What is this young? What am I? Am I the 12-year-old, the 13-year-old, the 15? Am I the 22-year-old, girl that was, or am I the 30-year-old mother or 40-year-old? Which one of them am I? Am I all of them? Am I the whole bag of every? What am I? So it's important to come to clarity that you are not anything that you perceive. In this moment, whatever thoughts you have about yourself is not that which you are. No matter how much evidence there is for you that, yes, these thoughts they do speak about that which I am. They do not, because they are that which you perceive. Anything that you perceive is not that which you are. And you can't dance around that. You can't waver around that. You can't play with that. You can't say yes, but, no. If you say yes, but, you're going to be saying yes, but for the next 5,000 years. Okay? So yes, there are certain quote unquote feelings, emotions that arise, meaning they're perceptions. It says within the body, they may be in your belly, they may be in your chest, they may be in the whole space, they may be in the walls, they may be in the whole, all of San Jose. I don't, you may experience whichever, but it's still an appearance. It is still something that you perceive. And that which perceives is not that which is perceived. It has nothing to do with that which is perceived. It is not defined by that which is perceived. And you never come and go. That which perceives never comes and goes. And it cannot be called, you cannot call that which perceives Maria or Magdi or anything. You cannot call it, I have no words for it. There are no words for reality. We use words because there is the body-mind instrument, and we communicate about reality, about that which is beyond language, via judicious language used clearly and carefully. Okay, Maria.
Thank you, Magdi.
Any questions? Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. Yes. While you were speaking with Maria, it just occurred to me that whatever I see is already past.
Yes. Yes. I think in some of the teaching, maybe of Joel Goldstein, I'm not sure they do refer to you're just perceiving the past. Yes. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was, in the university, I was marveling. I would walk at night, on campus at the hill, and I would look up at the sky. It was in the countryside, and the sky was full of stars and the galactic sky. And I would like be astounded that what I'm perceiving, my actual perception is of events that have occurred light years ago, that it takes light years for that supernova to sort of reach the glitter, reaches this perception. Yes, that's one way of saying it, that what we perceive is the past. Another way of saying it is that we perceive, thank you, Zoe. Yes, Joel Goldsmith. I'm sorry. Yes, Joel Goldsmith, not Goldstein. Thank you, Zoe. Right.
Sure.
It's that Swiss cheese brain, So, yeah, another way of saying it is that two ways of saying it is that, in fact, we perceive ourselves, that consciousness is perceiving its own creation, its own creativity. As it creates, it perceives instantaneously. So there isn't time in consciousness. There isn't a lapse between creation, between conception, creation, and perception. There's conception, creation, and perception, and dissolution in one. Not zero time, but the eternity of creativity. So if you apply that to all of conscious creation, then you could, given that it's not in time, you could sort of reason that all creation is being instantaneously conceived, created, and perceived, and dissolved, and because there isn't a time, there isn't a sequence. At the human mind level, there is a sequence, there is a historic development. But in fact, when we turn our attention to the reality of our experience, not the human experience, but the reality of the human experience, which is available to us because we are that reality, then we can come to the experiential, the living understanding, the lived understanding of that, the eternity of all creation, the zero time of the conception, the creation, and the perception, and the solution. So if you look at like, okay, where are these very words that are being spoken right now, or that are being heard right now, you can come to the sense that it's not that one is gone and the other one has come. It's not like, the last word is gone and now the next word is. That's just one way of putting it in at the mind level. But in our experience, it's all happening not in time. There is a timeless element to consciousness. So in terms of perception, talking about perceiving the past or perception, the pinhead of perception, there is no time, and it's all one, and all of it is happening simultaneously. And at the same time, because it's zero time, it's no time, one could say there is nothing happening. There is no perception. But that may create quite a revolution at the mind level. So let's stay with that in our experience. The impression of time is an appearance. It's a narrative within our timeless experience. So time is a narrative within timelessness.
You blew my mind.
It's a good thing. From one blown mind to another blown mind.
Thank you. Just lots of gratitude. It's wonderful. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Okay, Holger.
Hello, Magdi, John.
Yes, hello, John. Hello, John.
I
Yes, John.
I usually resonate with
Yes.
people. Well, you actually had talked about it a little bit too, but you know, obviously the thing of maybe trauma, or you know, I mean, I once was told that I grew up in trauma or whatever, but the thing that so I'm just saying that there's a resonation a lot of times, and with people who are speaking about certain things or childhood trauma or even feelings and so forth and so on. But I do, and I know the, you know, certainly we can know intellectually that we're the universal body. We're not, you know, these little things that are passing and going, and we can know all these different things, or it's timeless and so forth and so on. We can have this intellectually, and that's good. There's a good part of that, because seeing that can stop some of the thinking that says, no, I'm this limited feeling, I'm this limited body, this limited mind, and so there's a good part to it. Yet you mentioned the word, I don't know if you said the living experience, maybe. And I think that that's really, in a way, both in my therapy that I've had and in non-duality, they both have pointed me in the direction of allowing these feelings to be, obviously, because they are, and they, but in therapy, though, it's more like you move on and you don't remain in the sort of childhood maybe memories, whether they're conscious, one is conscious of them or not. And it's more of a compulsion, or it's whatever, to do things, or to clam up, or to shrink, or to become a me, a very limited me, even a childhood me, a child me. And so even in therapy, it's pointing, at least in what I've had, it points me beyond. And in other words, it's welcoming the sadness or the anger, or it's welcoming the feelings. And that is true in the non-duality that I hear. And yet in the non-duality, though, it moves out of, I'm going to now become the adult that can handle things. I'm not a child anymore. And so now I'm a different me. I'm an adult me, and I'm going to handle this, and I have agency, and so forth and so on. So I can see all this. And I think one of the things for me is very much allowing the feelings to be there. I will say that some feelings, I'm sure this is for most, but some feelings are stronger than other feelings, and some feelings will start to identify as a me, or a shape, or of a me, a character of me. And so there's trying to get out of this thing that I've identified as me, and so forth and so on. But I would just tell you, just last week, I had a lot of, I call it anxiety, but there were a lot of feelings, because the body starts tensing, and that's what was appearing for me, or sensations where the body would tense, the chest would tense, the stomach would tense, and yet, I mean, as best as I could, because sometimes it's so strong that I go, wait a minute, what did I learn in non-duality? and so it's very much identified as it's a me, but at the same time, I just ask certain questions. What is my reality? What is my truth here? And so what happened for me was that I did allow it to be, and I allowed it to be, and you know, even asking the question, who am I, and who's the I that I'm, like you were talking earlier, who's the I that's even feeling these? You know, I know I say this to you a lot of times, that I can't find the I that's me. And a lot of times you point to a separate self, and I'm understanding that as well. But it does appear, in my case, at this point, I have to ask the questions, like, basically, who's feeling this? You know, where am I? And I can't find it. I really can't. If I really look for it in imagination, there's a feeling or there's a sensation, and there's some sense of I, of a little me or a limited me, you know, in this body and this mind, you know. But when I actually ask, when I inquire and go into that, I can't really find that. And right away, everything starts to move around, and even more I can allow the feelings to be even more so. And then they sort of like smoke in a way. They kind of just move and shape and move, and there's nothing to grab onto. And eventually, it dissipates into the into the air, into space, into whatever, like smoke. Yeah. If there's smoke and it burns out, you know, it starts to dissipate and go that. And that's the only thing I can say about that. I can't go to what sometimes you tell me to do, is just realize I'm not the separate self. It's too intellectual sometimes for me. It's too much mind stuff, I guess.
We experience a feeling it's not abstract. We experience the feeling, it's alive, you know.
Can you turn your volume? I'm sorry, every time somebody gets on, it seems to go down.
Let me see.
At least on my side.
Okay. So, you know, the feeling, we experience the feeling, it's alive, you know, there is a dynamism to it. And and it depends on whether it's a feeling or an emotion. A feeling, there is room within a feeling to sort of distance yourself to a certain extent from the feeling, because as a perceiver of the feeling, there is that possibility of turning your attention, not just by thinking about it, but sort of in a palpable way, to that is an appearance, that which is perceiving. With feelings, you can do that, not with emotions. Emotions it's more intense. So in emotion, you gotta sort of ride the wave until you get on the other side of it.
Okay, so can I interrupt you just quickly there, because I think that's another thing that maybe clarity is, what the difference between what you're saying, emotion and feeling.
Yes. Now, an emotion is a feeling on steroids. Okay, so it's a bodily sensation with a me story, but it's like I am angry. You know, it's really loud. The intensity, the volume, the amplitude of the feeling makes a distinction between a feeling and an emotion. In an emotion, you just hopefully you ride the wave. You get on the other side of the rapids. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember people used to say emotion was emotion, energy in motion. So yeah, there's a lot of energy. Right. There's a lot. Yeah.
Now with the feeling, it is possible to comprehend. You have more room. There is more calm, you know, in your space to comprehend that. Okay, this is an old pattern that's just repeating itself. There's a current, you know, a current in the ocean. That this is it's an appearance. There is nothing at stake. So it's possible to work with a feeling, you know, with your non-dual understanding. With an emotion, it's not possible. But with and whichever way works for you, there isn't like a formula really. I mean, because we talk about feelings and about, you know, consciousness in so many ways, so that there is a whole repertoire of tools that are available to you. And whatever works, for you with feelings. For example, you mentioned to allow them to be. Okay, that's beautiful. Allowing them to be means, what does it mean? It means you're neutral. You're there, and here is a bird or a whole slew of birds, a whole 500 birds flying by your window, and allowing them to be, meaning you're not taking your gun and shooting them, or you're just. So the allowing is more of presence, is being, is
not willfulness. No willfulness in there.
Yes.
No willfulness in there. Yeah. Not intending to try to get rid of them,
Right.
try to make them smaller,
Yes.
hoping that this is going to get, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. There is no willfulness. So it is more. I think there is an Indian term which is escaping me right now, where it's the practice of non-doing. It's not. I think it's called viragya or something like that in Indian tradition. So non-doing means there is a feeling that's arising, and the space is there for it. And in fact, I am that space.
Yeah.
I am that space. And the space isn't affected by that which appears in it. So there's a possibility. It's not like, okay, just at the mental level, okay, I'm going to allow the feeling, or I'm going to allow the feeling. If feelings arising, I'm going to allow it. It's a lived, you're living the allowing. You are the living allowing. So the allowing is lived as what? As myself. So I am this allowing. I am this spaciousness. And at the same time, I am the feeling. I am the feeling as I am the hearing of this voice right now. And the hearing is a movement, it's a manifestation of that which is unmanifest. So a feeling is a manifestation, is a movement of the I am, of that which perceives it. So yes, there is a whole repertoire of tools available to you to work with feelings in such a way that while feelings in ignorance are pulling you more and more into the me, into resisting, fighting, arguing, defending, justifying, classifying, thinking, while in ignorance, there is that tendency of approaching a feeling with, I've got to do something about it. I've got to figure it out. I've got to liberate it. I've got to whatever. In the non-dual understanding, the feeling is still there as the hearing of this voice is there, but it's not coming to present itself to you as a personal problem that for you now to sort of deal with. No. Now, if it appears to you as something that it appears to you as something that you need to deal with, then I would say it's a good time to ask yourself, if possible, what is the extent of the reality of this problem?
Yeah.
If it's a, what is?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Is it a problem with my 12-year-old child or 14-year-old child or 8-year-old child or 16-year-old child, and what is the reality of this problem in terms of what I am today? And you may come to realize that this problem of that child is important to you today, to the extent to which you want to make it important to you today. And my recommendation is, if that is the case, don't bother.
What'd you say? Don't bother?
Don't bother. If it is the case that what appears to you
Mhm.
It relates to a problem that you want to, out of choice, you're making it a problem. You're making it something.
Oh, yeah.
Then don't bother.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's even known here now that this stuff arises, as you say, like thoughts and everything else, sensations, everything. They arise, they come and they go, and
You could spend your next 1,000 years trying to
oh,
deal with issues that have occurred to you in your youth, because we all know that we've been subjected to so much madness, because madness is rampant, in the human experience. And to sit down and try to resolve all the what we've been subjected to, all the impressions that we had, people mocking of us when we were 10-year-old or 12-year-old, or our teenage years, where there was all the sexual repression of the Catholic madness. And if you put it all together, heck, I mean, you will never make it out of the woods.
Oh no. Oh, you can always find this. I've always found, and not only that, and I'm not down in therapy or anything like that, but in therapy too, in the mental health therapy, there's always sometimes a searching for this, and because it does hold people back, because a lot of it comes up and people are trying to avoid it. That's a little bit different story. And so when it's being avoided or suppressed, then it comes out sideways and it causes trouble and it causes suffering and so forth and on. So, I mean, I understand that, but there can be so much to be found. And you could go till the end of this life here or whatever, the body life, doing that, but it also perpetuates and reinforces a personality that has to come to some clean state, which is impossible,
To a certain extent, we need to have a healthy ego to function. And in some cases, it's needed to work, with professionals to get, to see through that. But sooner or later, especially in our conversations, we come to the contemplation of our true nature. And
and for me, in some ways, it's what is the truth? Even if it's not true nature in some sense, but I go to what is my true nature. But sometimes in the inquiry, I'm going to call it inquiry, into what is the truth. It has nothing to do with trying to get into the past and all that other kind of stuff. It's just more about what is reality.
Right.
And once that's seen, the spaciousness, I'm going to say, I don't know any other way to say this, but my true nature appears, but it doesn't appear because, that's a weird way of saying it, but it is, okay. And so it's known. So it knows, the knowing knows itself, knowing whatever. But I guess one could just say that somehow the mind lets go of trying to deal with all the images and everything, and just allowing them to be. One recognizes, that's the word in non-duality that seems to be a big one, is one recognizes one's true self. You can call it the background or whatever, the peace, the restfulness, that all this is arising in, and that's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and although I don't sit and say, oh, that's going to happen and I'll never have an emotion or a feeling again, or something might feel like it's too strong again or something like that. I don't need to deal with future. I just need to deal with now, and the acceptance of the stuff and know my true self. That's what's the most.
Right. We don't know. At the same time, the higher you climb over the mountain, the broader the view, or the more you are in recognition of the inner piece of being, which is the causeless piece of being, the more it will be your experience in life. Yeah.
So can I ask you, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question on this emotion and feeling? So I got the idea of like, it almost sounds like, maybe I don't really need to know this, but when you say emotion, it's kind of a strong, it almost sounds like there's an intensity, like an energetic intensity. It's a stronger feeling. And I don't know if I need to know whether, but I know the idea of writing it out. I know that one. But is there necessarily I mean, I guess if I were to identify it, am I having, I don't know why I would even have to do this necessarily, but am I having a strong emotion, or am I having a feeling? I mean, or is that just nonsense? I don't know.
Well, it's a technical question. It's not such an important question, but since you asked it,
Okay.
with an emotion, the me, the personal self, the sense of separation, is just has zero interest in any recognition. It itself has zero interest, and complete absence of interest. It just wants to be itself. Don't mess with that. When it comes to a feeling, the sense of separation, the me, is acting out, but at the same time, it's available to recognize its game, its play. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Magdi.
John. Yeah. Okay, thank you, John. Yes. Okay. Any questions?
Magdi?
Yes, Maria.
Yeah, I'm listening to this conversation, and thank you very much. Is it Joe? J is
John.
for Joe?
John.
John. Thank you very much, John, for elaborating on this theme. So the thing is, I have found that sometimes if we could understand our feelings, what's arising, like, for example, I kind of never allow myself to feel anger, or when anger arises, there's, the resistance, I guess, to it. And so the thing is, would feelings really have a service to us just in this relative world of functioning, so that I've noticed that if I can allow more the pure feeling of anger to come out, I'm clear about my boundaries, I'm clear about what's needed at the moment, especially in the workplace.
Yes.
And without having to lose myself into the personhood, or still with the recognition of me being awareness.
Right. There can be an appropriate, I think Francis uses the term outrage, an expression of outrage. There could be an expression, an energetic expression of outrage, but it's not anger, it's not personal, and it is directed seemingly from a person to a group of other people or somebody else, or seemingly it has that appearance that it is personal, but it's not personal. So you could, for example, see somebody that is being unkind to a pet, to a dog in the park, and you feel outrage, and you might tell this person, hey, stop abusing this dog, this dog doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God, you know. So yes, there can be an expression. So in other words, non-duality is not about, oh, you know, like the flower people, everything is cool. Oh yeah, they're mining Haiphong Harbor. Oh, how cool. No, it's not like that. There can be outrage and there can be action that arises out of your sense of outrage, which is proper because it's not coming through any personal desire. It's coming through you, and it's being channeled through your wisdom, through the inner wisdom of fairness, of kindness, of love. So you don't need to really have any personal agenda about helping the animals, helping the dogs, you know, from saving them from abuse. No, it just arises spontaneously to you. Similarly, at work, there are certain relationships. There is certain responsibility. There is a certain order. It's a machine that operates in a certain way to serve the client, to provide income to the employees, to pay all the purveyors, all the goods, and to also bring benefits and allow the owners to benefit from the business and take care of their cost of living. So there is a certain order. It's not the chaos. So there are as an owner of a business, you are overseeing all of that, and innate to being an owner is that you are also the guide. You provide guidance, and in some cases there are actions that you perceive that evoke in you outrage, and and then you can express that. Like somebody could be, one of the employees could be serving undercooked food. They're aware of, you know, they're seeing it and they're hiding, or they're drinking the wine, you know, down in the cellar. So yes, there is room in non-duality, and in life, you know, forget about non-duality, for outrage and expression of outrage and action that is expressing this outrage, but it's not personal. It is impersonal. It is for the good of the whole, not just for my good. So you have an understanding that, you know, everybody's actions in your business requires a certain harmony. It requires, it has to fit together in a certain way that makes the flow of the business smooth, or as smooth as possible. And as an owner, you have this responsibility to make sure that all of this is functioning. And there are ways of expressing your outrage that where the person to whom you're expressing your outrage is getting the understanding that you have, that, you know, this action, you know, that they're doing is hurting everybody, including himself, including him and his family and his children, or her children, or whoever, you know. So there are ways of expressing, you know, your outrage that is more acceptable, more accepted, because we are not doing it out of personal anger or out of our past conditioning. We're doing it out of intelligence. And our expression is impersonal, it's not personal.
So when I do see that whatever anger or emotion is arising, it is personal, then I go back to the inquiry about what is perceiving all this, or what is it?
you know, first, when you express your outrage as anger, meaning, how could you do this to me? You know, how I've been so good to you. How, you know, why are you treating me like that? And I've been treating you so good. You are going to immediately experience the unhappiness. You're not going to experience a certain flow. Okay. You know, the understanding is more or less always the same, that whenever we act from a place of separation, whenever we act from a personal, the impression of separation, personal separation, that's the wrong path. Whatever expression, even if we give a praise to somebody, you know, whatever action we take that comes from a polluted source is going to reflect that in the source. So I wouldn't judge myself for being angry. If I've been angry, I wouldn't add on the judgment to that. But whenever possible, I would reflect upon it. You know, what was going on? What went on? What happened? I mean, in my own time, in my own inner silence. And is there another way of being? And sometimes there is even room to express one's apology. Maybe not, you know, it depends. So it is your reflection about your life without adding on a judgment, because judgment adds on to the personal self, you know, the good and the bad. I'm good, now I'm bad, now I'm good, now I'm bad. That's all illusion. And experimenting with different ways of relating with this person, or, you know, can I trust them more, or do they need? Should we have a cup of tea together, or am I? Maybe there are some things happening in their life that I'm not aware of, or I don't know. There, you know, you can go to different places, you know, in your relationship, besides in the past, you know, besides the memory of what happened. You know, you explore, you know, can I maybe sit with this person and hear a little bit what's going on with them, and also you can experiment with. Sometimes there is unnecessary reaction. Sometimes there is a necessary, appropriate reaction. Sometimes we can just let it be. You know, like I have my nephew now who's taking care of some of my business in Virginia, and it's interesting. Of course, I have my way, you know. He's 29 years old, but he's very eager and energetic and intelligent and funny and jovial. But I have my way. And sometimes, you know, he says, oh, I did this, or he sends a certain text to a client, and I find myself like wanting to jump on, you know, on it, sort of, because my way is, and that's not my way. My way is that, you know, do it this way. And then I sort of step back a little bit. I say, well, wait a minute, you know, maybe there is another way. Maybe there is something that I'm not aware of. Maybe I can allow some room for this new relationship too. And it's funny. It seems to work, you know, in this case, you know, not in all cases. So you can also experiment with yourself. We may have some tendencies sometimes to react, you know, and to sort of see that. I'm not saying that our reaction means it's false, it's wrong. No. But to see that it's a reaction, and that just to seeing this reaction may bring some space and some room around a new way, something new that may arise, But all of that in our life, everything that is happening in our life is not about our life. It's about the wisdom. It's about the love and beauty and happiness. It's not about money and success of business, and it's about beyond that. And that, what appears in our life, once we understand it's about more than that, then that which is more than the business and the relationship comes into the play. And so that we're not limited and defined to the experience that is unfolding in our life, but we're also open and available, and it is also available that which we all share. We all share, we all are. Which is this effortless beingness, this formless presence, the reality of consciousness. And it is magical when that aspect of your understanding starts to come into your life. It touches everything in your life. It affects everything in ways that maybe the eyes and the senses cannot perceive, but at a deeper level, it touches everything. And so we are open to this
to this mystery and magic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Maria.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes. Okay. Well, very lovely to be with you all. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
Trish and Mina. Yes, Mina.
Thank you, Magdi.
Good to see you. And Kate. Hey, Kate.
Thank you, Magdi, very much.
And Esther. Hello, Esther.
Thank you.
Charlie. Nice away. Holly. Hello, Holly. John. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, Frank. Kelly. Hello, Kelly. Shiva. Salut, Shiva. Richard. And Victoria. Thank you all.
Very much.
Very lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Magdi.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Bye.